In the last session, we looked at logging into our UC Diagnostics appliance and getting a handle on what the views that we were looking at were really all about. We didn't cover a whole lot of depth, but we're going to start covering pieces of this just in chunks as we move forward, and that's going to be starting right now. So first off, when you first log in, there are two areas in this view that you start off with that should draw your attention. One of those is the alarms, or active alarms, and then the other one is active alerts, which is the one right below it here. Now, active alarms and active alerts is actually having to do with issues or events that occur specifically for the Nectar appliance. So for example, if our UCD box got low on disk space, or maybe there's some other hardware-related issue with the box, then we would actually get expect to get an active alarm in this view here. And we know that too because we can use our mouse to hover over some of these symbols, and it'll actually give us a description of what these little areas are really all about. So taking my mouse here and going over this icon, I can see this is an issue with Nectar equipment. So if there are any alarms that are in view, that means there's probably something going on with that box that I'd want to check out. Now how this differs, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize this using a little drop-down arrow on the left. Now how this differs from active alerts though is that active alerts are actually errors or alerts or events that actually get triggered based off of the type of voice environment is being monitored by UCD. We know this again because I take my mouse and I hover over this icon and I see that this is specific to issues with routers or sessions. Routers being look at really the monitored network and its devices, whereas sessions are application sharing sessions or video calls or voice calls, what have you, based off of the monitored environment. Now whatever appears here, usually red is the newest, whereas black means that it's been tripped but it hasn't cleared yet. So we can see we already have a couple of good examples here. Now we have some that are bad MOS call session alerts, which are, MOS is a way to measure kind of the quality of a call. We also have things like alerts for if packet loss, or packet drop in this case, gets too high, or things like priority queue usage alerts, which have to do with our QoS queuing. But we also get alerts for other things too as well. Things like if somebody tries to sign into our UC Diagnostics box with an incorrect username or password too many times, then something like this host lockout will actually trigger. But the cool thing about these alerts is that as they get triggered, you can actually use these to drill into calls, which we'll look at here in the next session. But then as they also clear out, or as they're no longer an issue, they will disappear from this view, indicating that it's no longer there. Now there are ways to look at the history so that we don't just completely lose those alerts forever, but for right now, the most important thing is understanding that as far as operating and monitoring on a UC environment, one of the best views to do so without actively searching for calls is using this active alerts area here.